The incessant, rhythmic ping of new emails was the symphony of Omar's life. It was a sound that spoke of mergers, acquisitions, quarterly reports, and a relentless ascent up a ladder whose top he could never quite see. His office was a monument to his success, floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city's glittering skyline, a desk of polished ebony, and a single, expensive orchid that was replaced by his assistant the moment a petal dared to wilt. Omar was, by every worldly measure, a man who had made it. He had the penthouse, the luxury car, the tailored suits that felt like a second skin. Yet, as he sat in his ergonomic throne, staring at the digital tide of his responsibilities, he felt a familiar hollowness. It was a void that no bonus. The verse his late grandfather, a simple man of profound faith, used to recite would sometimes echo faintly in the chambers of his memory. The life of this world is only the enjoyment of deception. But Omar would quickly dismiss it. Deception? This felt very real. His doctor had called it stress. You need to disconnect, Omar. A digital detox. A week at least. The recommendation was accompanied by a prescription for anxiety medication. Omar, a man who solved problems, decided on a more drastic solution. He would combine to detox. He owned a small, dilapidated property in a remote coastal village left to him by his grandfather. He had been meaning to sell it for years, but the paperwork and the paltry sum it would fetch had always pushed it to the bottom. Now he would go there, sign the papers, and be rid of it forever. The journey was a gradual stripping away of the world he knew. The smooth, humming efficiency of the airport gave way to a rickety bus, which then gave way to a battered taxi that navigated winding dirt roads. The city's cacophony was replaced by the whisper of the wind and distant crash of wave. When he finally arrived, the village was a splash of vibrant color and weathered wood, a world away from steel and glass. The property was exactly as he remembered from a childhood visit, a small, whitewashed stone house with a blue door, perched on a cliff overlooking the vast, untamed ocean. The key, hidden under a specific rock as per his grandfather's old instructions, still worked. The interior was a time capsule, a simple bed, a wooden table, a small bookshelf holding a few volumes, and a dusty prayer rug in one corner. There was no electricity, no running water, no internet. For the first time in 2 decades, Omar was truly, utterly disconnected. The first 2 days were an exercise in agony. His fingers twitched for his phone. His mind raced with anxieties about what he was missing. The silence was deafening. He tried to read a financial magazine he'd brought, but the words seemed absurd in this context. Frustrated, he ventured out. The villagers, with their sun-leathered skin and warm, curious eyes, were initially wary of the city man in his expensive hiking gear. But slowly, their innate hospitality won over. It was at the small, bustling port that he met Khalid. While other fishermen competed for the best spots, shouting and jostling, Khalid worked with a quiet, unhurried grace. He was a man in his 60s, his face a roadmap of a life spent in the sun and salt air, yet his eyes held a profound peace. Khalid's boat was modest, his nets patched, but he always seemed to return with a decent catch, and he always gave away the best of it to the elderly widow who lived near the mosque. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Omar found himself sitting on the pier next to Khalid. "You are the one staying in old Ahmed's house," Khalid stated, not as a question but as a simple fact. His voice was like the gentle lapping of the waves against the pilings.